So I just want to start by, first of all, thank you, Cecilia, for agreeing to do a video chat. And the idea is really just to have a fun, casual conversation talking about how you came up with the idea of your Walkit bags, which I absolutely love, and then how you build a business around that, and then what you've been doing recently to streamline that. And I know that along the way, we're going to have a lot of fun talking about all kinds of other sketching related topics. So just to kick it off, could you tell us a little bit about yourself, what, where you're from, what you do, and how long you've been sketching?
Thank you, Liz. It's really nice talking to you. I never done anything like that before. um, um, I am Cecilia. I live in Budapest, and my main job is illustrating children's books. And it's a job that you are not really visible through. Like your face is not there; it's your pictures that is there. So, it's not the usual thing for me to be like visible, but I'm very very happy to be here and try this too.
Yeah, well, look, I
um
think the best way to explain your product is always to actually for people to
yeah,
see your face.
exactly,
So I know none of us are comfortable, but
exactly.
this is going to be fun.
It's quite comfortable to talk to you actually, so
Oh, that's good. How long have you
how
been
much
sketching for?
I basically met sketching in 2011 at the Lisbon Urban Sketching Symposium. So that's basically when I met the concept, and since then I've been sketching on and off, sometimes more regularly and sometimes less. So yeah.
It's insane. Okay, so well, that was when we met, which is a funny story in itself. I confused you with someone else, and yes, pretended that like thought that I knew your mother when I didn't. So anyway, I hope your mother is doing
I
very well.
remember. Yes, she's doing really well. Yeah, I remember that moment that you hugged me really warmly, and I was like, "How nice these people are, indeed." And they just,
Yes, well,
yeah,
one of my more embarrassing symposium moments. But anyway, I have a few.
yeah,
So, okay, so Lisbon was, I mean, very, very special. I mean, all the symposiums are special, but there's a special magic about
yeah,
Lisbon, the city, and all that. Those Portuguese urban sketches just had such a strong system and community there really
yeah,
early on. So, talk about
absolutely.
inspiration for us all to really get out and keep sketching and sketching a
Yeah,
lot.
it was a really nice, um, yeah, welcoming community as well. I think they've been quite a strong sketching community already then, or
Yes,
that's what
yes,
I
that's
remember.
yeah, that's right, that's right. And so somewhere along the line, which I'll get you to talk about in a moment, you came up with this idea of these Walkit sketching bags. So I just have to show you mine, which I've just recently started using as part of my walking kit. So I love it. My walking kit and my walk kit. These bags are just so fantastic. I've been using this every day, like 6 days a week for the last number of weeks,
Yeah.
and it's just working so perfect. It's like you know exactly how many markers I need and got all these things. So I absolutely love this. So tell me a little bit more about like when did you make the first one? What was the idea behind it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's such a
Wow.
fantastic product.
Thank you, Liz. It's amazing to hear and to see that you're using it and then it works, it functions. Uh, Basically, I always loved walking, so it's one of my passion. It's my meditation. It's it, it it's a lot of things for me. So it was always there. And when I started illustrating, which was also a later stage of my life, like I started it when I was 28. I did all kinds of things before, and I was doing my second children's book, and it required a field trip on the island of Crete. The story was playing at Crete, and
Wow.
the writer had this idea. that we go there, spend their week, and kind of walk through all the locations that the picture book will be talking about. No, it's not a picture book. It's a novel, actually. And so we went. Of course, nobody financed it, but we did go and spend their week. And basically, we were gathering material for the book. And the difference was she had her little notebook in hand and kind of wrote up words that came up to her. And I was gathering images. And every time I wanted to grab something, I had to find a spot, sit down, pack out my stuff, and start drawing. And it was just not working. She was already 100 meters further. We had to move on. And so it just didn't work. And it was really frustrating. So basically, that was the moment when I thought I just needed to figure out something for this, because I really like to sketch on location. I really like to do field work for my books, and field work is sometimes on a tram, sometimes in a city, sometimes in the countryside, sometimes I walk long distances, whatever. And so I went home and I made a sketching bag. The first one, it's this one. This is the
Ooh,
Pioneer bag.
yes, fantastic.
It's made of a pillowcase, and it's and entirely hand stitched. So I basically just did it, and I started using it, and it was really a difference for me. It really
Okay,
made a
yes,
difference.
yeah. No, I just love this because one of the things I'm always saying on my blog and in my courses and everything is that you've got to have your tools handy and able to get them out, or else you're not going
Yeah,
to. I mean, you had the opportunity of well, you were there, you had to sketch, but you had you weren't with a bunch of sketchers who are sitting down, setting up their
yeah,
stools, all that kind of stuff, which is part of like the urban sketches culture, is to have all of this kit and this stool and portable
mm,
easels and all this kind of stuff. But when you're trying to sketch sketch quickly, or you're with family members or other things, and you like, for me, sketching is something I try to fit in the in between moments. You really
yeah,
need to have your stuff handy. So I normally have my handbag or purse always has to have that front pocket, so that all of
mm,
my materials, I can pull out a pen in 30 seconds. So um, like I just love that the idea behind your Walkit bag is like, it's
mm.
it's so aligned with all the things that I think about when we think about sketching. Is that
Yeah,
if it's easy to get, and to get your materials, you're much more likely to sketch, aren't you?
yeah, absolutely. And also when you are a beginner, then you don't want to be visible very much, or already be noticed while you are packing out and people start to look. And like, for me it was also really difficult. I just want to be kind of yeah, invisible while sketching. It's also sometimes important when you want to sketch a moment where you don't want people to notice you necessarily. You just want to catch something, catch a glimpse of what's going on around you. So yeah. And just as you said, it's a lot of in between moments, like waiting for my child when he's on a music lesson, whatever. I just have 15 minutes or something. And yeah, all those situations were the ones that made me think of it.
Yes. So do you do a lot of sketching standing up? I mean, is that, I mean,
I do.
yeah. Okay, well,
Yeah, yeah.
that's not that common, actually. And I mean, it's, yeah,
Mm,
my brain's going off at the moment, going, okay, yeah, like, that's one thing I want to
mm,
do more of, because I mean, even when I'm saying that's my walking kit, because of where I'm walking in the bush, there's normally picnic tables, and so I'm still
mm,
actually sitting down. But actually,
mhm,
yesterday I was in the middle of the track and I stopped and I thought, oh, this is when the product, the bag, really shines, because
mm,
you don't need to you don't need to be sitting down.
mm.
Everything's there, so easy to get out. So, but yeah, I think that idea of, yeah, of sketching standing up, it's takes a while to get used to in terms of holding the book and all the rest.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it does create that more spontaneous thing. And also you also have the advantage of when you see something to sketch, you don't you actually sketch that view, as opposed to you see something to sketch and then you get the stool out and you sit down and you go, oh, it's not as good from down here.
Yeah.
It's never the same. Sometimes it doesn't matter, but the car comes past and blocks your view. I mean, that always happens anyway, but
Okay. Yeah.
yes, yes. No, okay, fantastic. So you had this great idea, you
Mhm.
made this prototype. So what happened
Mhm.
next? How did you end up then, like, making a
Making
business
it.
out of it?
Yeah. I don't exactly know, but I think it started with people asking where I got that bag from. I was regularly stopped and asked, even in Hungary, and then when I went to a symposium again, then people kept
Barcelona,
asking me.
Barcelona, Barcelona. Would
No,
it
it
have
was
been?
Porto.
Oh,
It was
Porto.
Porto
Okay,
when I went with
that's
my
right.
bag,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
people kept asking me where I got it from, and then I started thinking maybe it was something that would be useful for others too, and yeah, then I started thinking of making these bags as well.
Very cool.
I love making stuff. Like, I'm a hand person pretty much. So yeah, I just felt it would be really exciting to develop it as a product. So I started.
Wow.
That was
Okay.
in 2019.
Okay. Cool. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was, so a symposium, like that Porto symposium was so crazy. So many people there. That's a real good way to
Yeah.
find out if people are interested in it. I mean, totally.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so how do
Hmm.
you go from like a custom hand stitched bag to production in order to be able to sell them? I mean, you can't um hand
Yeah.
stitch them and sell them, can you?
No, no, exactly. Yeah. Well, first of all, like, I never done a product development process. So every step of it was new to me. So I went into it with a big enthusiasm. And on the way, I met all the challenges. So it was quite an exciting process. And it's sometimes good not to know about the challenges when you start with something, because maybe it would discourage you. But I didn't know about them anyway. So first I did an iteration process,
Yeah,
meaning I didn't hand stitch, but I sew with a machine
yeah,
10 bags, each a bit different. Like, they were 10 versions of
yes,
mine, and because I'm using a number of tools for sketching. It's my way of sketching needs certain tools,
yeah,
but others use many different ones. So I wanted to figure out how others would use this bag and what they would change and what feedback they give and what needs emerge. So I sent these 10 bags to 10 sketchers, among them you,
yes,
and asked them to use it for a few weeks, with their own tools, and then give me feedback on how it worked for them. It was quite exciting. I sent the bag to sketchers that I knew, that were my friends from earlier on, Marina in Israel, and Paul in Singapore, and Eduardo in Brazil. So in all different places, and, and Liz in Australia. And it was really exciting because I knew that you all worked in a very different way.
different way. Yes, yes,
And so the feedbacks were really useful. Basically, after the feedbacks, I knew what the bag needed to serve.
yeah,
Like, in the first ones, there are no pencil loops, for example, just just pockets. And then I added the pencil loops, and there were things about being comfortable, and so all sorts of feedback. And
Yeah.
then I arrived to a kind of a prototype idea, which I drew. I drew the
Pattern.
idea of what the pattern, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then I asked a friend of mine to help because I'm not a regular seamstress.
Yep.
So
Yep.
I'm very slow. So I
Yep.
asked this friend who is a textile designer to come and help me actually make the prototype.
Yep.
And that was the first challenge because I when I work with my own hands, then I kind of sense all part of the process, how it
Yep.
works, how the materials are, how long does it take, everything. But when I do it with my brain, I don't sense these things. So
Yeah.
I had to ask her to make it. And the first thing she gave me as a feedback that your pattern is beautiful, but it takes me 4 days to actually sew it
Oops.
because it's so
Wow.
complicated. And I was like, okay, so then what? And so it took us a while to reach actually a version which was serving the needs, but it
Yes.
was possible to be produced as,
Produced. Yeah.
yeah, not as a one of a kind thing, but something that you produce in quantity.
Yeah. And I think that's
So
a big thing when you have an idea, isn't it? That you have this idea, but then to actually make it into a product. Not that I've done. I've got such admiration for anyone who does a physical product, but just that whole process of how it functions, but then how is it going to be produced?
yeah,
Yeah, I could imagine
yeah,
how. Yeah.
yeah, trying different materials. Like I had this idea, like the first one has a piece of leather in it. I really liked it, but it costs a fortune. And
Yeah.
so there's a lot of little details to this one is orange, and I love orange, but it gets dirty very soon. So there is a lot of search for the right
Yes.
material, for looking at the cost, looking at the strength of it. A lot of little things until
Yeah.
it kind of comes together.
Okay. And it
Yeah.
sounds like you had a like your friend had a lot of input into the process as well, which would have been really, um, yeah, useful to have someone who was so proactive in terms of saying, "Hey, if I do it this way, it's going to be so much easier," and really streamline
Yeah.
that for
Yeah.
you.
Yes, that was actually another person later on. Like,
Ah, okay.
yeah, this friend helped me to develop the first prototype, but
Yeah.
she had a day job, two small kids, and she was doing her textile design stuff in the night. So we
Oh, okay.
basically
Right.
spent many nights together, which is really nice. But after a while, yeah, she couldn't come with me further on, so I had to look for someone to actually make it for me, and that was also quite difficult. It took me months to find the right person,
Yeah.
and like my original plan was, well, it actually happened to bring the first batch of the bags to Amsterdam to the symposium that year
Mhm.
and kind of introduce them there. And before 3 weeks before Amsterdam, I had not a single bag made because the last step, finding a seamstress and
Yeah.
having like a number of bags produced, it just didn't work.
Yeah.
I worked with different people and it didn't work. And finally, I phoned a number that I had some time ago, and it was an old lady. I I think I kind of didn't trust her that much. That she's old, maybe old-fashioned, maybe it's not easy to work with her. I don't know what I thought, but as a last option, I phoned
Yeah.
her, and she was the one who proved to be um, someone extraordinary. She has been leading seamstress agencies all her life,
Ah,
and
okay.
she told it to me as a hindrance. She said I didn't sit at the sewing machine that much because I was directing, and
Hmm.
and and so I am probably slow. She said, and I said, okay, okay, doesn't matter, just do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then it turned out that because she was leading these agencies, she had a really good thinking for processes. And
Okay.
she just looked at my object, and she had a lot of suggestions for simplification, for making it stronger, for making it nicer. So she was the one kind of saying, okay, if we do it this way, then it would be like that. And what do you think about this? What do you think about this? And I was like,
Right. So your
and
first
it was
friend
really,
simplified it quite a bit, but then
yeah,
this seems to have really made it into a viable product and something that you
yeah,
could actually,
exactly.
that's amazing. So
Yeah,
it's kind of
yeah,
like
yeah. It was
two
really,
peoples with the skill.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And she's the one I'm still working with,
Oh,
and she loves my bags, and she loves me. She's like a grandma, and so it's really,
oh,
really, really nice to work with her.
oh. I mean that's it. I mean, you need to find really special people to work with, don't you? Like for it to work,
Yeah,
you've got to find the people who are really good at what they do and that you get on with really well, and that you can just, as you say, you've both got that love for the product and vision
yeah,
together.
yeah,
So yeah, oh, that's very
absolutely.
cool. The last resort has turned out to be the best option.
Exactly.
She
Yeah.
probably doesn't like being called the last resort, but anyway.
No, she's an angel.
And so did you get, so in those 3 weeks, was she able to make some bags for Amsterdam?
Yeah, she made 60 bags.
What? Wow.
Yeah. Absolutely. So yeah, in the last minute I actually had a stock to get
Fantastic.
on the train with. So
I
yeah,
don't
it was
think, I don't know, did we see each other in Amsterdam? I mean, Amsterdam is such a blur. There was
probably
so
like this.
it's okay. No random hugs for your
Yeah.
mum.
No, we actually sketched together before the symposium started. There was one afternoon when we were
Oh,
sitting on a boat with some other sketchers,
oh, yes.
Marina, and
Yes. Okay.
yeah, I think
Okay. Thank you.
that's it.
I can remember that. It was
Yeah.
it was like Amsterdam, because then there was the heat as well. It's just the whole
Yeah,
thing is just like a blur. I
it's
go,
hot.
did we see each other or not? But
Yeah.
I know exactly now. My brain's going ding ding ding. I can remember what you're talking about, and so
Yeah.
yes, thank you for
Yeah.
reminding me. My memory's pretty good. I remember stuff. I remember workshops, but oh man, that was just
Yeah.
crazy.
It
Okay, so
was it
cool. And
was
so you emptied out your stock in Amsterdam, did you?
I actually did, yeah, which I didn't expect to at all, because part of my unprofessionalness or beginnerness was that by the time I wrote to the organizers, can I have a table at the market? They said, well, it's all gone. It was all gone in January, actually. So
Yeah.
you can sell outside the doors.
Which
And
is
I
a
was like,
good
that's
thing because
exactly me.
how hot it was in the church upstairs. You wouldn't have wanted to be up there anyway.
Yeah.
So you're pedaling on the
Anyway,
streets, are you?
yeah, that's exactly my thing. Be out the streets, please. There's the bags. I was like, okay, okay. Anyways, like like every challenge until now was somehow solved. So this one probably will be solved somehow as well. so
Yes.
so I had a very nice bicycle of a friend living in Amsterdam, and she borrowed me that bicycle and their flat as well. She borrowed me their flat for
Very cool.
in return for feeding the hamster and the goldfish. so
Okay, good, good.
so that was a good start. I had a flat and I had a bicycle, and I put my little suitcase on the rack of the bicycle and put the bags in it. So that's how it started. But actually, the bag started to sell itself. I I gave one to one of the organizers. She ordered one still before
Yeah,
Amsterdam, and
yeah.
she put it on, and then I gave it as a gift to a few sketchers, and basically 1 hour after, people started coming to me and asking, I saw that bag, is that you? And I was like, okay. And it was really, really nice. Well, I really have to mention Ketta Lynn Harris. I gave her a bag as a gift, and one to Matthias, and just to say hello, I went up to the market where she was selling her sketchbooks, and I was about to turn around and come down, and the next moment she put on her bag and just show it to the people who were looking at her sketchbooks, and the next moment I noticed that four bags were taken from my suitcase, and they were both, and I was like, okay. So that's how it started, and basically it was all gone, which
Yeah.
which was which was nice, because on the train, on the way to Amsterdam, I kept saying to myself, if you sell one, that's fine, that's fine. That's perfectly fine. So it was really a nice surprise.
Yeah. Well, do you know your market? I mean, yeah, like you know what Urban Sketches are addicted to the kit, like having it's something new in their kit or having some special way. And like as you say, that the snowball effect of
Mm,
um of having that product and also it being visible. It's like it was like your people walking past go, hey, where did you get that? What's that bag? It's not like it's something
mm,
inside your kit. It's something you're wearing out
mm.
on your body, and people see it. So,
Yeah, yeah,
okay, that's yeah. It's like yeah, the symposium is like a perfect place to
yeah.
spread a lot of your product around the world as well.
Exactly. It's so nice to write the addresses on the envelopes and say, oh, this is to Texas, this is to Canada, this is to Singapore. And it really feels so nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened then? Now you've got a product, you've start selling stuff. Now you've got to
Mm.
make a business, website, all the rest, start selling online, I suppose. Is that the next what was that the next thing that happened?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, basically, by Amsterdam, I had a website and a web shop. A friend of mine made it for me. She was really, really professional, um, and so I started selling it online. And it was also again something that I was learning on the way, just every little detail. And yeah, and then I was doing that for a year. And during that year, I realized that there's like everything is kind of ready. There's a good product. It's been tested. I know that it's what sketchers need and can use well. I have all the production line developed. I have a seamstress, so everything is kind of set up. There's a web shop. It's functioning, but it's not really building up. Um, and I know why. It's due to something that I am doing or not doing, but I don't know how to change it. I just realized that I am not communicating regularly on Instagram. I can't really make it a habit. There's little things that somehow are missing for the product to really start functioning, or the enterprise to start functioning. And of course there was COVID, and there were
No,
difficult times, and
no symposium,
yeah,
no face. I mean, the impact of it,
yeah,
like while you're talking, I'm thinking, wow, if you then had another symposium where you had like followed up the next year with another symposium
yeah,
or another other European events, because there's so many events in Europe that you would
yeah,
go,
yeah,
then that would actually filter out because the word of mouth in local urban sketches groups is so strong. Someone turns up to a
yeah,
local event with his bag, they go, where did you get that from? That
exactly,
would have snowballed. But hey,
yeah.
we're in a pandemic, there's no meeting on location. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, true. So then I started thinking how to improve it, or how to build something of it. And early this year, I asked my brother, who is kind of a manager, if he had any ideas of what I could improve or what I could change so it works better. And he basically asked, so what do you need? And I said, I need someone to tell me every Monday what I should do that week. And he said, okay, so then we'll do that.
Wow, if only we all could have a brother who tell us what to do
Yeah,
every Monday.
exactly.
That'd be good. Can you help me too?
Yeah, it's quite a special brother, yes. He is. And he started working with me, and and through this process I realized how many things there are to an enterprise to function, and that as an artist I have a certain set of skills, creativity, having a lot of ideas. There are things that I'm strong at, but there's a number of things I'm not strong at, or I don't even know about them. That So it's also a set of knowledge. It's a set of expertise, um, running an enterprise. But I guess you know that very well.
Yeah, as an artist, and I know in excuse me, I know in the chats that we've had in the past, I've realized more and more the privilege I've had of coming into art through architecture, where the drawing component of architecture, which is the bit I like the best, is just like one
Yeah.
part of it. And so all of the business side of things, I'm very, very, experienced in. So for me, running
Wow.
my own business, is it, that's fun. That's really fun for me.
Wow.
That's all. It's like I feel like in a way I'm more I'm using all of my project architect skills, all of them now. It's like not, yeah, the artist component is a very small thing, but I know a lot of artists, as you say, your skill is, as you say, ideas, being creative, not so much the nitty gritty. I mean, I don't like paperwork, I really don't, but I mean, I know it's all part of all part of it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So you brought your brother on to whip you into shape and to
Yes.
get this artist into a businesswoman.
Yeah, he's trying hard. Yeah, one thing he keeps telling me, yeah, there are a number of things he um, that I learned from him,
Hmm.
a big number of things.
Yes.
But there are things that he kind of regularly tells me again, and one sounds really simple, even ridiculous, but to a freelancer like me, who I never worked in a workplace, so I am my own system. And I also come from a family which kind of focused on um, saving the world rather than earning money. My father is an ecologist, so he always focused on the case. What you do is something that you find important, you find meaningful. It gives something, and money is somewhere in in the background, or
You hope it
I don't
comes
know
in.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. And he was good at it, so money came
Yes.
in, but
Yes. Yes.
sometimes my focus is elsewhere. And so my brother keeps telling me that look at this, look at Walkit as your job. That's your job, which means you turn up every morning and you do those number of hours. You put it in this, and he's not saying it because I'm not working, otherwise, but I do a lot of different things. I have a son who goes to a Steiner school. There's a lot of community work going on there. Um, so there's a lot of things in my life that I find important and that don't bring in money, or that are not my enterprise.
Yeah.
And he keeps, yeah, calling my attention to, if you want an enterprise to work, you just have to put in the number of hours, and you have to do
Yes.
it regularly.
Yes. Because in
And
a way, it's a hobby. Like it's easy to think of what, you've got your main job as an illustrator, and then and your
yeah,
job, your job as a mum as well, and then you've got
yeah,
this hobby, or what people call the side hustle.
yeah.
And so your brother was just like really saying, no, you've got to take it more seriously. Is that really what he was saying? It's like you've got to, like,
You got to commit to it. I think he's
commit to
trying
it.
to
Yeah.
say, yeah, yeah, yeah. Change my mindset in terms of, yeah, it's not a hobby. It will bring in money if you look at it as a job.
Yes,
which
yes.
means, yeah,
And so
there's a
you have to
commitment.
then carve out time in your week for it is
Yeah,
only a side, it is something that you're doing on the side with other, like, it's not the only thing you're doing, but you need to say, this is the time I'm going to allot for it.
yeah,
And stick to it and say, this is serious. This is, as you say, this is a
yeah,
job. This is, I've got to turn up,
yeah,
not just hope I
yeah,
find time to do it and
yeah,
fit it
yeah,
in.
yeah. It's regular, and like the same with sketching. Like if you want to do it, you have to develop a habit, and the habit when will then kind of sustain you in doing it. And yeah, he's been saying the same thing. Just
Yes.
and the main thing he's been working with me in the first period is developing habits around the enterprise. So that was a big part of what we've been doing, developing habits around
Habits.
running the enterprise. And it's funny because you would think that habits are boring, or they are, I don't know, but it's it's such a joy when you feel that things start to function.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
because of a simple habit of
Yes.
doing something every week. So yeah, it was
Yeah.
quite hilarious for me.
Yeah, and I mean, when you said about the sketching, because of course, like people who will be watching this, like they don't necessarily want to start a business, but it is that. I mean, I
Yeah,
was just thinking the same thing when you just said it. It's like, yes, it's that habit. In fact, I just happened to post something on my blog this week about it because I've just well, it's like I've just finished 8 weeks of Monday to Friday going and having an hour and a half in the bush walking and
eight
sketching.
weeks
8 weeks. I haven't missed a day.
Amazing.
And it's all about that idea of, like, in the first couple of weeks, it was really important to establish that habit. And it's right immediately, like it's about 2 o'clock. I go, so it's basically after lunch. I just get in the car and I go, and so it's like I don't even like. There's only been one day where I didn't really feel like being there. I think it was more energy level, but I still went. And of course, it's this little yeah, it's the little habits. I mean, it's that's a topic I'm really interested in. Like, there's a fantastic book called Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of it. I had the privilege of hearing him speak and even talking to him a number of years in Austin, Texas.
Mm,
And the idea is, don't worry about the goal, just worry about making small incremental changes into your habits, because then the habit will sustain you. Uh, Whether
yeah.
you make that, you will get to the goal, you will get there. Like, but sometimes the goal, you can be discouraged, or when you reach a goal, you then just go, oh, well, that's it. Like,
Hmm.
I couldn't be bothered, like running a marathon. Once you run the marathon, do you keep training for it or not? So it's all, so that's it.
Mm,
Like, in the moment, that's what I'm thinking about too, is like, okay, how can I make the habits? How can I start doing things regularly? And then if I'm going to do some sketching, how am I going to fit in the sketching? And so I'm just in the process of trying to get some sketching in the morning
mm.
routine that I have as well. So that's a different
Really?
of a walk to get my coffee. And I've just been worrying about going and getting the coffee, then going for the walk and the coffee. And now I'm going, okay, can I go walk, coffee, sketch? So I'm kind of like, as
Wow.
they say, what they say, chaining habits. Anyway, I'm going down a tangent, but it's
Yeah,
so
but exactly. Yeah,
important. And as you say, I mean,
absolutely.
there was a discussion on my blog today about, oh, do you sketch because you feel like it? Like, there is this balance, there is a balance. Like, sketching should be fun, and for a lot of people it's just their hobby. So it can, like,
Mm,
when if you do a monthly challenge, it can be a burden to get it done, but you always feel so well, you always feel like, oh, pat on the back, hey, I just did Inktober, or I did some other challenge. um,
mm,
so the habit in and of itself, and the discipline, if you can get it to the way it's working for you, and you can find some alternatives, then that's just really powerful. But then, of course, you've always got to be careful that the discipline doesn't take away the joy. But when you're talking about a job, it's a job, you've just got to do it.
yeah. Yeah, but I realized that habits bring some kind of order, and it eventually leads to relaxation. It
Yes.
eventually leads to focus. It leads to my mind being less overcrowded. So there is joy in it.
Yes, exactly. So
It's,
it's kind of
yeah.
like this satisfaction, even if it's a task that you find perhaps tedious, the discipline in itself
Yeah.
then becomes becomes a bit of a reward. And
Yeah.
okay, that's very cool.
And another thing that he told me, and that kind of brought a different mindset about Walkit, was that as a freelancer, I do a lot of different things. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, it's illustration, it's different projects, it's travels, it's courses and workshops and sketching and motherhood, and so it's a lot of things to keep focus on. And he he told me that instead of trying to like divide your focus all the time between all those things, try to think of Walkit as a spine or as a riverbed that kind of channels all these different things into one flow, one stream, and think of sketching as the spine of everything, because all I do somehow connects to this, and and that was really helpful to somehow think of the enterprise of some as something that can um, put into synergy
Mm,
what I do,
mm,
and eventually lead to the different things strengthening each other and not dividing time and focus and pulling me apart. So that was a line of thinking that's also behind how he works with me, eventually lead to the different things strengthening each other and not dividing time and focus and pulling me apart. So that was a line of thinking that's also behind how he works with me on the enterprise. It was really interesting.
that's okay. So like taking it like serious, like thinking of it as a job. This is like really a mindset thing that really changes the way you think. So it's like you're in a much more positive way of thinking about it rather than thinking, oh, I'm pulled in all different directions. In,
Mm,
you're now thinking that everything is working together.
yeah, support each other. Hmm.
And so that's made a big difference.
Um, it's at the beginning, like it when I'm
Making
doing
difference.
things. Yeah. But it does make a difference. Like just the thing that I like. We did 3 phases
Hmm.
of this working process with him. The first one was he called the plumbing phase. The
Plumbing.
second one, plumbing phase, yeah. The second one was relaunch, and the third one
Relaunch.
is
Yeah.
growth.
Okay.
And we are now just starting the growth stage.
Okay, cool.
And
So
in the
plumbing. What's plumbing? What's plumbing? That's a cool name.
yeah. Well, plumbing was looking at my system and fixing the leakages,
Oh,
and
okay, okay.
basically building a system that was stable and functioning in all its part and strong enough to build upon. Like one simple thing was build a stock. Like I had
Ah,
10 bags in my stock, and he said, okay, and someone's post goes out about you, and you have a bigger order and you can supply, and so you have to build it up. So then I told my Yutkanini seamstress that, okay, get ready, start working. And now we have a larger stock. So that was part of the plumbing phase, for example. And the other part was I had a lot of channels for communications. I have my own illustration, whatever, Facebook and Instagram, and I have it all for Walkit. I have a website, I have a web shop. So it was all on different places, and he basically put it all together. I have now one website. It includes my portfolio as well as my web shop, and so we kind of simplified it and started to communicate through these channels. And I was saying that because
I probably
what were we
interrupted
talking?
you and lost change your. I was so obsessed with this plumbing idea about the
Yeah, no.
plumbing, the
Yeah,
relaunch, and
yeah,
the growth.
yeah. The riverbed thing. Yeah. So exactly the communication channels, they do
Mm,
work as a riverbed in a way, and that I learned after starting to use them. So we set up a system for communications, writing blog, writing a newsletter, posting on Instagram. So it all um, looks like a system as well. And and when I am thinking of what I communicate, what I do as an illustrator, as a sketcher, as an entrepreneur, then it starts to weave into one. And so through communication, I learn a lot about what it means that this is a riverbed and this is who I am and how it comes together. So
mm.
that helped.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really yeah, really cool idea that I feel like I want to think about with my, with my own, with my own work, because I have two, there's Liz Steele and there's Sketching Now, and I don't have separate. I have
Hmm.
obviously two different websites, but I don't have separate social media, just because it all just comes out of me. But like with a product, I could see that it makes sense definitely to have the separate ones, but yeah, trying to work out how you can tie them together, and then also to be consistent at posting as well. So is the system working?
Yeah.
Because like posting social media and like multiple platforms. Oh,
Yeah. Well, it's still in progress. I'm not really good at
oh
posting, but I'm learning it. Yeah.
yeah,
My
yeah,
Instagram is being less and less retrospective because the word itself says instant. But yeah, it's a
yeah. So
learning
it
process.
sounds like what's your like your brother's given you some great advice, and like what do you think like the big takeaway, like what's the thing that's like gotten you most excited about all of the like advice and the things that he's doing? Is it the Monday checklist? Tell me what to do. I like that part. No tough
Yeah.
decisions.
Well, um, definitely we have a this weekly meeting set up. It's called the Walkit Weekly,
Hmm.
and yeah, it's a Google Doc um, that I copy every week up and up, and I go through the steps that are in it, which is like looking at numbers, looking at my action items. Action item is a new word I learned this year, and different things. So it gives me a system of what I have to look at, and it's also a reminder. There were um, there were a lot of points when the thing was, how will I not forget that?
Yeah.
And 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 I learned that these little systems basically keep it in mind instead of me, and
Yes.
so that's very useful. So that there is this Walkit Weekly, and we have a Walkit Tracker, which is a spreadsheet in which I kind of keep track of the numbers, of
Yes.
sales, of money coming in, inventory, how many bags were made, what orders I gave to the seamstress, then numbers of communication, Instagram, and traffic on my blog, and
Yeah.
different things I never thought of before.
Yes.
But that really gives me a picture of who my audience is, um, what people's interest lies in, why do they connect to me, what are they interested in. Um, so there's a lot of information about what I do, and um, yeah, what is the need and interest of people who are connecting to me. why are they reading my newsletter? What would they like to hear about? All those things.
I'm not on your newsletter. I need to get on your
Oh,
newsletter.
Liz.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, oh, so you say how often do you send out your newsletter?
Well,
Oops, sorry, did I just ask the oh the
I am
embarrassing
trying to
question?
send it out every 6 weeks,
Okay. Yep.
um, and it sometimes works.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
and
I know the kind of, you know, there's a lot of threads of like, oh, send out a newsletter once a week or once a fortnight. I mean,
yeah,
I still have an old style monthly newsletter, but then I'm publishing
yeah,
3 blog posts a week anyway, which are going out. But for me, that monthly newsletter, which is like the first Tuesday in the month, I mean, that is my secret weapon for accountability to myself because
wow,
that's my place for announcements. So if I'm going to do something, I have to plan the whole year out and I go, right, when am I going? When's my newsletter coming out? You know, in the days when I was doing, face-to-face workshop, lots of face-to-face workshops, I'd go, right, if I want to have a workshop, next month, I've got to announce it this month to give people notice.
yeah,
And so the day before it'd just force me to get things together. Otherwise I'd miss that date and that would be my lost
yeah,
opportunity because
yeah,
I made this
exactly.
commitment. So it's sometimes funny that you have something and you think, wow, the online business world might think this is a bad thing, but like for you, it really works. And what you're saying about numbers and getting to know your audience as well, it's like finding out what things that people are interested in. It's not just numbers for numbers' sake, but it's like trying to
Yeah, yeah,
understand what people want more and what things resonate with people and what things don't. And sometimes it's a
yeah,
mystery, but I don't. We have algorithms. We have
yeah,
algorithms on Instagram as well um, to fight with, which that's a complete mystery to me as well. Oh well, I kind
yeah.
of know. We should be doing more reels and silly stuff like that, but anyway, maybe I've got to think about this riverbed, and Instagram Reels is part of the riverbed. Maybe that's what I've got to do.
Yeah, I really
Yeah,
like what you said the other day that yeah, Instagram is really about um, enjoying what you do and just putting it out there because it will come through your posts that you're doing it anyways and you enjoy what you do and basically that's the guideline that I can follow when I enjoy what I do, then it's easy to post about it. And
yeah.
basically that's my um yeah, motivation.
Yes, I mean that's what I mean. I'm going through my old blog posts, like fixing images and everything else like that, and it's like, wow, the early days of blogging, of like that spontaneity of like I do a sketch, I immediately scan it and just type all these random comments, and it's like there was
Mm,
so much energy in those early days, in that early days of Flickr before
mhm,
Instagram. And that it was just such a joy. Like we were all doing it. It was all a hobby for everyone.
yeah,
And now, of course, things have changed, which is fantastic. And it's fantastic that there's, urban sketching's, such a big movement. It's people all the time. They want to learn how to do it. We had to work it ourselves, but like now there's so many things, and now we need special bags to to carry our tools so we can do it more easily and have the gear. But yeah, I do think that that's my philosophy is like do it because you love it and because people can tell when you're just doing social media because you feel like you have to. Um,
mhm,
but yeah, as you say, when you're excited about things and it's part of that, like I don't feel as if um, well yeah, definitely in the early days, like as an architect, what do? I do drawings of buildings and then email them to the client and write about them. So the writing is part of the storytelling of what the sketch was. So
right,
in early days, it was like my sketch isn't complete until I've written about it. So it's one of the things
wow,
I'm thinking about a lot too, is like how to
mhm,
get back to that stage where the connection between when I do the sketch and when I write about it is closer and
Mhm.
more spontaneous. Which when
Mhm.
I travel and I do Instagram stories and everything, that's when it's really there. But that's when I think there's magic where we can, um,
Mhm.
yeah, the story, because there's so many thoughts in my head at the time
Yeah.
when I'm
Yeah.
sketching,
Yeah.
and I feel like I want to
Yeah.
write them down, whether people are interested or not. I like reading them later on down. And that's the other
Yeah.
thing too, is I mean, I'm obsessive about my blog, but um, I do it for
Yeah. I really
myself.
love
I
that.
want my own record. I don't like it. The fact that
Yeah.
people like it is fine, but I'm predominantly doing it as my own record and to keep my own creative juices pumping. So as I write things, or like you're saying with the your weekly your Walkit weekly, for me is like I mean I don't scan every single page, but if I haven't really done a big blog post of what I've done the last couple of weeks, I'll do a really big one that says here are all my pages, and it's always this is like, I don't feel like I've been sketching or very much, or I'm not happy or whatever. But when I put it together, the discipline of putting it together and
Mhm.
documenting it makes me go,
Mhm.
oh, okay, I've done more than I thought. Or, yeah,
Yeah.
look, I've got into a bit of a rut, and the actual act of documenting it is then what triggers the thought process. So anyway, I'm
Mm.
going down a tangent.
No, I really love this. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This documenting part, because I
Yes.
think often we just rush through things and don't reflect, and it's such an important part to realize that, yeah, I've done all these things, and it's a lot, and yeah, I really
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, and I think this is like the kind of idea behind this conversation as well, is like to really like to talk about your process and what you've like how you like I think it's just so fascinating, and there's a lot of parallels just with sketching, is just to
Mm,
think about like just to have this conversation, because like in our community we don't really talk about this side behind the scenes, the build,
yeah.
like how to come from an idea to a business and all the rest. So I'm really excited that we've had this conversation, that
Mm,
to talk about these things, um,
mm,
because I think, yeah, there's a lot of really, as I said, my mind's buzzing with a couple of things that you've said that I want to just go and think about, for my own, in my own work,
mm,
in my own business as well. So yeah. So have
mm.
you got a couple of Walkit bags handy to show us?
Well, is it visible
Yeah.
enough? Yeah.
Yes, yes. Actually,
So that's
I
mine.
could I get you just to go on your own? Hold on, here we go. Here we go. Okay, so we
Um,
can see.
yeah, so that's mine that I'm using right now. It's a large version. There's two versions in size. One is the large and one is the small. It's basically the difference is in width, no, like that. Um, yeah, now it's visible. So I like the small one when I want to be like it's really almost invisible when I have it, and it has less tools and it's lighter. And in the large one is good when you have lots of markers or pencils. It has in the back pocket a row for, I just get me some more light. Like that. A row for pencils and brushes and markers. And I keep my sketchbook here too in the back pocket. And in the front ones, the middle ones, I keep the watercolor and like large brush and other watercolor and stuff like that. And then there is a front row with again some loops. And this is where I keep my water bottle as well and ink bottle and stuff like that. So, and this is the color version I call Inishmore. That's an island in Ireland where I used to live. And I designed the colors of this after that um, landscape. Um, yeah, and then mm, this is another version designed for Amsterdam. It's a more grayish, um, version, and then there is a warmer one. This was designed after a Tajik trip. I've been also with my brother at. So these are the colors of the mountains there. And this is a donkey that carried our baggages on the trip. And so it's all a lot of memories connected to it. And then the fourth one is named after Lake Balaton, which is the largest lake in Hungary. And it brings the colors and the flora of that area. Um, yeah, like that.
Very cool. Now, can I get you? I've got to add myself back. Here we go. Is that back? Okay, right. Yeah, and
Good.
that's what that's what I've got with
Oh
my
yes, you've got
yeah,
Balaton.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, in
yeah,
the
yeah,
large, and
exactly.
yeah, I love it. I love it. And I mean, I'm using mine mainly for markers and pencils, but
Hmm.
I do
Okay.
and this is my little Greenwood sketchbook, which is an Australian company. So yeah, it's really working well. And just before the pandemic hit, I well,
Mm.
you sent me three bags, and I had a 3-day workshop, and I used a different one each day, which was kind of fun because I tried to match my outfits to the bag, and it was just brilliant for teaching because I had everything there, and I like I tried the different options of having it across body or around my waist, and I really like the way that you can do
Mm.
both
Yeah,
options, just depending on how much else you've got on your shoulders. So
yeah.
yeah, no, I'm a complete fan. Absolutely love it. So is there anything else that you want to tell us about Walkit or
Hmm.
your
Um,
adventures creating a very, very essential sketching toolkit thing that we all need?
um, yeah, I think maybe just one last connection came in my head, that this riverbed thing, that there is the bag, there is the sketching, there is the enterprise, and I need to do regular sketching in order to be in touch with my enterprise myself, or be in the mood for talking about it, for using my own bag, and having a thought of, okay, maybe this could be better this way. So it somehow keeps me sketching, or it motivates me to sketch, and the other way around. When I sketch, it motivates me to improve things there, and to think about it. To So this way, it's also a riverbed, that that it that things start to motivate each other, or start to strengthen each other. And just one example, like one idea that I had, that came from regularly using my own bag, was changing the pocket. Um, like the pocket originally was like flat, like your version
Yes.
is
Yeah.
still that. and
Yeah.
and that at one point I had this idea that if the pocket has a depth, um, like here, then it's much more things fit in, and it's also safer, and it sits in well, so it doesn't kind of um, fall out
Fall over.
in
Yeah.
the front. Yeah. So that was one thing that came just from this. But really, the realization was that it makes me sketch more, and sketching makes me do the enterprise better.
Yes, and be motivated. I mean, like when you're saying this, I'm going, yeah, I actually, well, I had for me, I think I had a circle, and right at the core of the circle was sketching, and then everything came out from it. So it
Okay.
was like, okay, so for me to be motivated for sketching, then that leads to new ideas for teaching, and then it produces content for social media and all the rest. So what you're just saying is yes for me, because sometimes it's so hard to find time for sketching when you're running your own business and a freelancing
Yeah.
or other things on the side. So just that, yeah, the idea of no, actually, you have to make time for sketching. It's really important. It's the thing that it creates it's the creative energy that everything
Yeah.
else will flow from.
Yes.
Well, that's a very good way to wrap it up, I think. Thank you so much for taking time to have a conversation, and I hope that everyone watching has found this really interesting, and got some ideas to spark for their own, whatever they're doing, their sketching or business or ideas or whatever.
Mm.
So, just to wrap up, where can we go to find out more about your work and your Walkit bag?
It's all on the website with my name, which is very hard to pronounce, but
I'll put it up.
yeah, thank you. Whatever. So it's there, and I actually thought of summarizing this enterprise process because I think there's a lot of things that could be useful for others as well, like how we build up the weekly meetings, what templates we use. So I thought to somehow make a little outline of those because I really find it worthwhile to share.
Yes, and definitely I'll include that in the blog post that's associated with this YouTube video as well. So thank you for that, because I really, as I said, I really like the idea of the riverbed and the plumbing phase, finding what's leaking and
Yeah.
and all the rest. So well, thank you so much, my dear
Thank
friend,
you. Thank
for
you.
coming on. I always love talking to you, and I'm so happy that you make these bags, and been privileged to be part of the process along the way. And as I say, I use mine, 6 days a week, and love it so much. And it's just been like great, just a couple of weeks ago to rediscover and think, hey, this is exactly what I need for my walking kit. So
So sweet.
so all the
Thank you
best,
so
thank
much.
you, and get out there, everyone, and sketch.
Thank you.
Okay,
You
see ya.
too. Really nice
Bye.
talking to you. Bye.
Bye.